We're going to talk basketball and football on this week's show, and we're joined by Tre King, first a junior forward for the Colonels, and he's leading EKU in almost every statistical category. Tre, you're really playing well early in this season. Where do you think your game's improved the most?
Honestly, I feel like my shooting has improved the most. Working with Coach Lepore this offseason, this preseason, he's really stressed how I prepare for my shot, always being ready at all times, and I think that's really helped.
Well, obviously, we got to focus on the biggest shot you've made in your career. EKU down 12 fairly late in the game, come back down 3 at the very end of the game. You hit a step-back 3 against Xavier on the left flat to send it to overtime. Coach Hamilton told me after the game that you were the number one option on that play.
Yeah,
Tell me what happened in the huddle and how it came down.
Basically, he said I was going to set a screen, and I was coming off of one. He said, when you get it, let it go. And when I first heard it, I was like, is he serious? And then I panicked for a second, and then I was like, okay, I got this. And it felt natural.
You guys forced a lot of turnovers at Xavier. You play a full-court press. When you put Cooper Robb in that full-court press, you bring Kurt Lewis in. This press is a whole lot better than you experienced in your first 2 years. Where do you think it's better?
I think our ball pressure is phenomenal. Shouts out to Kurt and Cooper. They're the most active guys on the defensive end. And I mean, the deflections they get, they create our offense. And I mean, can't get much better than that.
The one thing A.W. Hamilton has told me in interviews, and I know he's told you a lot as a team, is you need to get that ball reversal both sides of the court. That's still a work in progress from what I've seen so far. Talk to me about how that needs to improve.
Definitely. The past couple games, we have these spurts where just the ball gets stagnant and our offense really doesn't get any movement. And when we don't move, we're not that good of an offensive team. But once we get sharing and get the ball on multiple sides of the floor, we're really dangerous.
So you play 4 games and then into OVC play you go with a game against Morehead State at home next Monday. This is a team you beat twice last year, but they're your rival team. How important is it to you as a team to get off to a good start in the Ohio Valley Conference?
It's really important. There's been many times where, determining who goes to the tournament is depending on one game. So we take it one game at a time, and every game is our biggest game. So
Morehead has played Kentucky, Richmond, Ohio State, a win over Arkansas State. So the Eagles have a tough schedule to begin before starting conference play. Tyshawn Claude has been injured, but they've got a new freshman in Johnny Broom, 6'10" forward. You'll probably be matched up against him, and I know every night out in the OVC there's somebody down there across the way that's going to give you a challenge. I know you relish that. Talk to me about play in the low post and what kind of mentality you need to bring.
It's very physical, and it's not for everybody. The biggest thing I take going into the game is I'm not about to let my opponent outwork me or play harder than me or do me better than I can. And I think that's really what separates me from everybody else in the OVC is I really try to compete not only like against them, but also against myself. So.
Let me go back, and I don't want to dwell on the Xavier game, but they're a Big East team, and you took it to overtime, and the team was up by 3 in OT. Do you consider that a moral victory, or is it just another loss that this team will learn from?
No, it's definitely a moral victory. You got to take the good with the bad. We learned some really good things about ourselves, and I'm proud of us. I mean, we competed the whole 40 minutes. Where we go from here now is we just take the lessons, the mistakes we learn, and bring them to the next game. So whatever happens in Xavier doesn't happen again in like OVC play. So.
Okay, well, I tell you what, I know fans are excited to see this team. I think this is the best that A.W. Hamilton's had, and it's going to be fun to be at Alumni Coliseum for a game, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
All right. Thanks, Trey, for joining us. As you can see, Trey and the rest of the team has been on the road, but that will change on Monday, December 7th, when the Colonels take on the Eagles of Morehead State. Tip-off is 7 o'clock. We'll have the coverage at 100.7 FM. You can stream at EKUsports.com and the TuneIn app, and also the video stream at ESPN+. We'll change to football when we continue next here on Inside EKU Sports.
At EKU, we believe education is the solution to challenging times. So, we're keeping college within your reach. This year, we're freezing tuition, dining, and housing fees, increasing financial aid for incoming students, and you can apply for free. We call it the EKU Advantage. Earn your degree on campus, online, or both. It's your choice. To learn more, visit advantage.eku.edu.
The EKU football season is over with a 3-6 record. Walt Wells joins us. Walt, 3-6 doesn't tell the story of what you got done this year. What did you get done?
Well, I think, one of the things we found out a lot about our football team and the guys that are in that locker room and the men that are here, and then the guys that we recruited and brought in, and a lot of people got to play for a lot of variety of different reasons. I think you saw us go through 3 and 4 different quarterbacks and go through and figure out who's where and how that goes, and just overall, set the foundation for what we expect here at EKU in the football program and where we want to go and where we need to go in a lot of different areas.
What pleased you the most on offense, defense, and special teams, and what concerns you the most that you need to get fixed come 2021?
Well, I think on offense, you start off with our consistency. I think after the first 2 games, we really got, and we got everybody back and was, in the fold and doing everything they needed to do. I think you saw some consistency in their performance throughout the year. We need to find some receivers with the ones that we have that have left. We need to go out and replace Keon and Jackson, Bierman, and so we'll be in the process of doing that. But I think overall, we set the foundation offensively for how Coach Richmond wants this thing to go and how we want it to go. And I think that was good. I think on defense, we put in a brand new system, and it's a difficult system to learn. And as we, as you saw the season go on, we got better there too. And that came with understanding the coverage that we were asking them to play. And so now we've got to replace some of those guys that are going to move on. But that's college football. That's what you have to do. And so I think with that, we have to continue to generate a better understanding of our fits at the inside linebacker position so we can stop the run a little better than we did. And so on defense, that's where it is. And then in our special teams, we've got to develop it. We've got to find a kicker with Wozniak, graduating and moving on. We got to develop. Either Mason's got to step up and take that job, or we'll have to recruit and find somebody. And then we have to continue to develop the rest of the 4 core units. And I thought our coverage units were lacked at times. I thought the last game they did a nice job. But we'll continue to get better in those departments. But it all starts with a snap, holding a kick, or a snap and a kick, depending on which one you're doing. And we've got to continue to get better in that. But our return game was good. As you saw Davion at the beginning and the end of the year. Sometimes in the middle, we didn't get it where we needed to be. And that's with a constant changing of, that's where the COVID really hit. And some of the injuries was your special teams, because you had to change them so much, so frequently.
My Uncle Roy was a great checker player. I could never, he'd double and triple king me. You're going to have to be a great Uncle Roy checker player when it comes to recruiting and roster management, because players opt out, players transfer, players say, I'm not coming back or I am coming back. I mean, I don't know how you keep up. So how do you deal with recruiting and who you end up with next year?
Well, I think the first one is the new players coming in is all about relationships, and that's whether they're transfers or whether they're high school players. We've got to do a great job in our relationships, because nobody's been able to come on campus. And, and we've got experience with that in the transfer market, because that's what happened with all the guys we brought in last year that didn't come in at the break. None of them got to officially visit here. None of them got to see anything. We never got to see them personally. It was all just what we're doing right here on Zoom. And so that's in itself is a challenge. And we're not open until April 15th as of right now. So we're going to have 2 sign-in periods where we don't get to probably see the people except for some of the ones that are going to sign in December. They got here before we shut down in March last year. So, yeah, it's, you know, I was thinking about it last night and talking to a couple of coaches around the country. It's like free agency. It really is. Some of the guys that are leaving us aren't leaving for anything other than they want to go experience something different. So they got their degree. They want to go try something different. And, you know, that's their prerogative. And so, you know, we have to be ready for that. We have to be ready for whoever we don't think is going to leave is going to leave. And in the same breath, we have to do, you know, be scouring the country and all the other schools and all the high schools and everything in between for the best fit for us. And we have to have a constant roster management update, which we will. Coach Losey is our recruiting coordinator and does a great job with that. And matter of fact, you know, I've been on phone all morning with them, the guys that are signing, and we're going to have a management meeting later on this afternoon.
EKU, final question. EKU played as an independent. Great decision to play fall football. You played 9 games. The other 7 teams in the league will play late winter, early spring, conference-only games. So how do you, as a team, not playing games, how do you deal with winter weights, winter workouts, and then into spring ball?
Well, obviously we've got to wait and see what the protocol is going to be with the university as we move forward. But I feel like we'll be back on campus on January the 17th. So it's a 7-week break for us right now because we're on it right now and we're in the middle of finals. And so we're not going to ask them to do a whole lot other than finish strong in finals this week. Some of them will work out on their own. But we have Coach Brown, our strength and conditioning coach, has a plan that he's sent for them for the first 3 weeks to Christmas, and then we'll get them after Christmas, and then get them back here on the 17th, and then we'll start our 4-day-a-week program. We'll start our 4th quarter program in February, looking at starting spring ball in the last week of March, right around in there. I was doing the calendar yesterday, and hopefully the spring game will be around April the 24th. And we're treating it like we would treat it normal. Now, obviously, the country's going to tell us how we got to treat certain things, but then we'll be recruiting. We'll be doing everything that we would normally do in a normal year, except for probably going out and recruiting.
Thanks, Walt. All right, coming up next year on Inside EKU Sports, we turn our attention back to basketball and talk with Sam Williams, the women's basketball coach here at EKU next. We talk women's basketball now with the head coach of the Colonels, Sam Williams. A really tough start schedule-wise for the Colonels as you go against number 15, Indiana, and then number 5, Louisville. But when you play the best, you learn a lot about your team. What did you learn in the first 2 games, Coach?
Well, I learned that, from the beginning, since I got here, I've talked to my team about expectations and thinking big. Wanting to compete for championships here at EKU. And I know we have a young team, but I wanted to use this opportunity to expose our kids to that type of intensity, that level of talent, and just have them just kind of can see the big picture and what we're trying to do here and what we're trying to build.
You went back to U of L where you were an assistant for 8 years in your hometown. That had to be for you personally a nice experience despite the loss.
It was. It was great to be obviously in the KFC Yum Center again. I had a warm welcome by the fans, and it was great to see my old colleagues again, and then able to bring my team in there to compete against the Louisville team.
So of the 10 players that have played, 7 are seeing the court for EKU for the first time this year. So it's a job of meshing everybody together. Do you feel like progress is being made from game 1 to game 2 and now as you head to the OVC play?
Absolutely. Usually for freshmen, our young kids, they've had to grow up quickly. And, there's times when you come in as a freshman, you have time to learn the system slowly and get used to things, but they've been thrown into the fire pretty quickly, and I've been pleased with their progress. And so I think that's going to bode well for us, playing Indiana, playing at Louisville, and then leading up to the Morehead game this Saturday.
So Morehead is your travel partner, and you're going to play them twice in 6 days. They lost to EKU twice last year, so they'll be ready. What do you know about the Eagles? They've only played one game before tipping off on Saturday, a loss to Dayton at home.
Well, Greg Todd always, the head coach, he always does a great job. So he'll have them ready. They were able to add a couple of transfers in this season that will contribute in addition to their returners who were young kids last year. So I expect them to come in here and be competitive. And, it's going to be a tough game.
Ariel Kirkwood comes back as the OVC Defensive Player of the Year. She had 5 blocks in that first game. So Kirkwood does pose some problems for you on the offensive end.
And she does. She's a versatile, athletic player that, can create her own shot, poses problems on the defensive end. And again, Coach Todd will have them ready. And I'm just looking forward to the challenge. We'll be thankful to be able to play another game. During this time right now, our kids just want to play. So we're very much looking forward to the game.
When you look back at your team, what's different this year from last year? Is it shooting the ball better? Or where do you think you're a better team than you were in year one?
For me, ball handling is something that stands out. We had 20 turnovers against Louisville, but, a lot of those were travels that were preventable. I think we take better care of the ball this year. And then our 3-point shooting is better. We weren't able to shoot as many against Louisville because of their size that presented us problems. But I think this year you'll see we're going to be a much better 3-point shooting team and a much better ball handling team.
Well, I can't wait to see you in person at Alumni Coliseum. Good luck against the Eagles as you start OVC play.
Thank you so much. Again, for all you that thinking about coming out Saturday, I think you're going to enjoy this team a lot this year.
Sounds good. Sam Williams, head coach of the Colonels. EKU hosting Morehead Saturday, December 5th, and then 6 days later they go to Morehead on December 11th to tip off the OVC season. Wes Chandler will have the call on radio as well as ESPN Plus. Hope you can make it out to the Coliseum for the first game of OVC play. And that does it for another edition of Inside EKU Sports. Like and follow all of these social media pages. Keep up with the Colonels. And until next time, as always, go Big E.